Three, two, one, and live. I'm joined by Ryan Murphy.
Hello.
Tracuer, free runner, ginger extraordinaire.
I'm really good at it by now. It's been a while, but I'm good at it now, I think.
A few years of experience.
Getting the hang of it.
So yeah, when you let people know a bit about who Ryan is.
Yeah, me. I'm a guy. I'm from. I hope so. I hope that hasn't changed.
You just assume your own gender.
Yeah, I did. I don't know how I feel about that. I came from California. I just quit my corporate job because life's short and I have enough money to survive Europe. So I hope so. We'll find that out at the end, won't we? And then when I get back, the plan is to start a parkour gym with a friend of mine. Back in my home state of California.
Nice. So yeah, how do you get into parkour?
I feel like it's a classic story at this point, but yeah, it's just looking at the internet, not just browsing on my own. Actually, I was in a French class, believe it or not. So actually, the language partially started that for me, which is not always the same for everyone else. But I was genuinely looking up, like it was a French culture project. So the teacher was like, "Well, you got to look up something French." I was like, "Okay, great." Well, I was looking up French things, and then I think somehow I ended up in the Russian section of the internet, and then I think I saw a video of Russian climbing, and then I was like, what is that? Now, I don't know that you could really brand it as specifically Russian climbing. Other than that, it was really, really ballsy and terrifying. And in that way, definitely Russian climbing. But I did a little more research into it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's this thing, parkour, and they talk like this, and they are French, and they say parkour. And at the time, l'art de déplacement was like they were pretty close in terms of what people knew of them. Still very underground back in 2000, I can't remember, a while ago. Like over 10 years ago. I've been training for 10 years. I think it was last October was my 10 year. My goodness, it's May of this year. That's crazy. Yeah. So looked at that and I was like, wait a minute. There's people on the earth that are still like playing outside like I did when I was a kid. I remember stopping there. Like I did it all the way. Yeah, exactly. I did it through when I was like 14. I would still like play on the play structures and climb up the slides and climb around the outside of the playgrounds because I was bored of the normal. Because it's like this is your path and you just walk up the playground path and you go down the slide, and that's great for kids that are like 3 to 5 or whatever. But I was like 14 and I was like I still want to like move and do cool things, and also Spider-Man was a huge influence, so I think that's why I did that. And then when I found there were Exactly. And then I found that there were people, and I think I was moderately big into tricking as well. So Power Rangers was like a thing. Nice. So I wanted to be like a Power Ranger, which I found out actually, I'm now too old to be a Power Ranger, at least in the US, because I saw an audition poster. They're only accepting applicants that are under 25. Oh. And I was like, no, my dream. Like that sucks. And that's crazy, and it's another topic, but so I wanted to learn flips and stuff, so like more like the tricking side, and then I love the idea that that I could train my body and my mind to climb, like to do these crazy jumps, but like to do them both like ground level and then eventually take it up to the rooftop. That wasn't like my focus, but like the idea that it just didn't make sense that I couldn't do it if I can do it on the ground. So it was like, why not to truly test myself and like overcome that? And that sort of draw to overcoming those obstacles. And I really bought into the whole philosophy thing, man. Like I actually really liked, OG David Bell anyway.
They shall not be named.
I loved his philosophies in the beginning. Like I can't remember, it was the video that I still watch every now and again. It was like le saut le saut du rooftop to rooftop. I can't remember what the name is in French, but like something. And he just talked about his philosophy, and he's like, someone comes up to me and asks me like, hey, what are you doing up there? He's like, looks down at them and he goes, well, what are you doing down there? Like, and why is what I'm doing any of your business? And you know what? Like, that was great. I just totally agree. And that really helped to kind of like, should I or shouldn't I start training this? And it was like, that was just such an existential, like, oh my goodness, like, why am I not doing this? So then over time, met with people. Actually, I didn't even meet with people a lot in the beginning. That first year, a couple years was mostly me just trying to get other kids to jump on things with me. Like, no, like you can jump like this if you keep your like hips back and you let your feet come front and you rock into the landing, then you can like rock up onto it. And it's fun, like trying to explain it to him, but no one had the patience because everyone was 16 and like, yeah, like I want to do it, but I don't want to do the work to get there. But I'm like, I do. And here we are 10 years later. Now I'm in Ireland on a parkour tour across Europe. So yeah, man. Anyway, so yeah.
Nice. Yeah, man. It's like, yeah. I mean, it's like that classic old saying of like, you know, you don't get, you don't. What's that? You get old because you stop playing.
Or yeah, it's not that you get old.
Yeah, it's not that you're too old to play. It's that you get old because you stop playing.
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Something like that. That sounds good, even if it's not. I think
Either
that's
way.
a good version.
Pat and panic.
Just put it out there.
Yeah.
Just get that.
But it's so true. Like, I mean, I always say it to people, and like I've probably said on fucking every podcast I've done, but like, it's just damn good to play. And so one thing about parkour, like, I mean, people look at it, and we've talked a lot about it over the past few days. So, like, people look at parkour and they see the crazy rooftop stuff, and immediately they go like, "No, I couldn't do that." It's like, no, it's like a tiny fraction of it. Like we said, it's like we'd consider ourselves like amateur boxers, and then the guys who do that stuff are like the Mike Tysons of the world out there doing the crazy shit. And it's like, yeah, you go do that, but we're gonna stay over here and do the stuff that we know is good for us.
Yeah, I mean, like I've dabbled in some rooftop stuff, and obviously I had my like 16-year-old moment where I was like, oh, I'm gonna run across all the rooftops on my street. Obviously, I only got to like 3 because it got ridiculous after like the 3rd one, but like. I mean, I had my moments. I think I went to Asia and I did a little bit in Asia, but like nothing like some of the guys like we were talking about Store earlier. Like these guys basically go across the globe and doing crazy stuff. And their most recent one was Roof Culture Asia, I think, and they do some monster things that are just, I believe, as the British say, mental, absolutely mental. Like
that's the thing. I mean, people look at that and they go like, "Holy shit!" But like they don't realize that that's their job. Like
yeah,
they do that every goddamn day.
I'd say I'd put it deeper than their job. I'd put it at like
life,
it's their life, it's their love, it's what they find fulfilling, and I think that's more important. Yeah. And as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, and ideally it doesn't hurt themselves, and
well, it hasn't yet.
To a degree. I mean, what's his name? What's the blonde guy's name again? Can't remember right now.
No, not Toby.
Long hair blonde dude.
I know. See his face.
I'm seeing his face on the documentary right now, and his name is right under his eyes, and I can't remember what it is.
It's just great.
It's just like weird letters. It's like Russian. I don't know. But I remember he did a one in like some like Bosnia or something. Or no, not Bosnia. Like somewhere in the Eastern Europe, excuse me. And he did like a side flip over a wall, and then he landed on an edge that was... Oh, no way. Like, just slanted wrong, and his shin just snapped. And it was like, oh my God. And I'm trying not to think about it, and here I am talking about it, because I'm on a Euro tour now. Like, you know? But it was a physics problem. I mean, it literally, that's the only way that, it was a perfectly landed thing that snapped his shin in half. That was insane.
I mean, like I was saying to the people who were visiting at the jam yesterday, it's like, I've seen 3 people break their ankles stepping off a curb.
Really?
Yeah.
You've seen it?
Yeah. Well, I've seen one, and I know 2 other people who did it. Like I saw one friend in front of me do it. Like we were sitting on it, and he got up, turned around, and then stepped off it, and just rolled his ankle and went, snapped it clean in half.
What did he train parkour or?
No, this is just like a random guy I knew from growing up, and it was like, you know, we must have been, I don't know, 16, 17 at the time. Man. He just stood up and went to walk away, and just snapped.
I wonder if I have strong ankles or my tendons are like good, or I work mobility or something. Because man, I feel like I should have really fucked up myself, but I haven't. Like yesterday, I was doing the stride you showed me at the Stephen Green spot, and that's fine. The stride was fine. I stepped on there was a weird gap in some of the brick, and then my ankle turned, and I still somehow stuck the precision that I was going for, but that. I mean, I feel like if my mom did that, she'd have cracked her leg 3 times. Like it would have just cracked up her all the way up her leg.
But it's also like I try to explain this to people. Even with yourself, you've probably done strides thousands of times.
Probably at this point, yeah.
Yeah,
10 years
easily 10 years.
Yeah, it's like there's no reason why this one should.
I mean, even if you've just done 100 a year, which you've probably done more than that, you've done at least 1,000 of them. You know,
that's true. Yeah,
and that's gonna do a lot to strengthen your ankles. Like it's
Yeah,
a
even
lot
that
more
alone.
than your mom has probably never done.
That alone, yeah. Even all the times where you screw up the precision jumps and you like undershoot it just under, and you get they call it the ankle thingy, which is just hyperdorsiflexion of
or overshoot it and land your heel on it.
Or and then your ankle does the other one.
You go,
Your feet toes go forward. Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
Flipper slap.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is a. Yeah, it's I don't even know what to call it. When you're trying to explain to people, it's like, is it a sport? Well, not really.
I've always maintained it. And I don't really. Maybe I should promote my perspective more. That's something that I probably should work on. Be my goal, my Tony Robbins goal for next year.
Motivational speaker.
Yeah, right. Just like I said, discipline. And I think it's important that it stays as that. But that's something that I think it should be. And maybe I don't practice it like gymnastics in that they go every day, and I don't really train every day. But when I am training, I'm disciplining myself to get this jump, or I'm disciplining my body, my mind, to tell my body to do it this way so that I can get my hips or my feet further, make sure I bring my chest up or back or out or whatever I need to get it done. Like, it's not like people come up, I had this a lot in high school, they're like, oh yeah, I did parkour. It's like, no, you did a jump. That's what you did. You jumped twice. And you're like, but I made it. I'm like, you jumped twice. You're not doing it unless you go back with the intention to like both improve, clean, and move healthier. Like, do that movement better.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a good few people say that. Now I still consider myself a solid newbie. Like, I've only been 2-3 years maybe. But
really, you seem so wise. That's the beard.
Hard life and a beard.
It's the Viking beard.
That does help, but like, to me, it's kind of with like so many of the disciplines that I've done in life, where it's like it's not that you did it, either you do it or you did it for so long that something stopped you doing it and you still want to do it. Like, if you really are like passionate about it, that's the way you're gonna look at it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my mum giving that to me in my youth, where she'd be constantly going like, oh, you're so obsessed with this stuff. I was like, yeah, because I love this stuff.
Yeah, I was like,
it's stuff I've always wanted to do.
Like, what do you want to do? And I think part of that comes from, I don't know, was I talking to you about this? I don't know, but it comes from a loss somewhere in that person who, like the older generation will go, well, I used to be able to do that. It was like, well, first of all, to a degree, you still can. Yeah. It's like your story that you've told yourself that you cannot do it anymore. Literally, no one is like even the policemen aren't going up to you. Your doctors don't have time to tell you not to jump on stuff, like, or to move your body. In fact, they probably would if they weren't afraid of being sued all the time.
This was like the last 2 podcasts I did, maybe, where they were both with pain specialists. Not past, maybe 3 actually.
That's awesome. Did they come visit or just hanging out?
1 from England, 2 from northeast of Ireland, and then 1 from, well, actually from the same area as those guys, but he lives in Dublin now. But like, what you just explained there is like the most cutting edge concept within like pain management and like therapy. Essentially, is the biopsychosocial model.
That word to me, like, because I kind of get where you're going.
Yeah. That
word pretty much explains like it all. Like that, I get exactly what
like
you're talking.
One of the guys, you can sit like Phil Greenfield. I recommend people go just check that guy out and look at the amazing work that he's done. But he even said it to me. He's like, it's funny that it's people like us, people who are training people. That's fingers crossed and touch wood and all that. That's what you'll be doing in your gym for the next however many years you want to do it.
Yeah.
That like, it's not a case of like just go do this. It's a case of like you treat, like, for them it's you treat the person, but for us it's like you train the person. Yeah. Like for myself with the PT stuff, it's like one of the biggest things I do is sit down and go like, well, what's your week like? It's not about me going like, all right, you're gonna train 5 days a week for 2 hours, and it's like, well, I have kids and I have like family commitments and
something
I have this
attainable
shit, like,
that they can do within their reasonable movements, and
you gotta train to their body, you gotta train to their
time,
psyche, and their social environment.
Totally.
And that, like, just touching on what you were saying, I mean, so many people tell themselves this story of like, my body's broken, or I used to be able to do that and I can't do it anymore. Like, we were stretching earlier, and it's the biggest one. Of people were like, oh, I can't, I'm not flexible, I can't do it.
No, I'm not. They say it from such a young age. Like, I mean, kids are like rubber at 8 or 9, and then they get to like 12, 13, and then especially with I mean, actually, no, everybody. I was going to say guys, but then I was going to say girls. And I was like, no, I've worked with a bunch of the kids, and they hit this point. It doesn't always, it's not always the same, but for everyone, it's just a point. Like, they go, no, I can't do that. I'm not flexible. And they say it with such conviction. It's like, well, what if you said, maybe I can with the same conviction? What could you do at that point? It's a different mind to live in, don't you think?
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, I made that choice in my own life. Like, I couldn't touch my knees, and now
you couldn't touch your knees?
No.
I kind of believe that, though. You're really tall. There's not a lot of tall people that, like, you guys just don't have to reach down there. Like, people always ask you, hey, can you help me
Plus,
reach
like, growing up, all I did was, like, rugby, a bit of boxing, and a bit of, like, karate when I was very young. It was just, like, boxing and rugby.
It's like karate?
Yeah.
What's that?
Karate.
Oh, karate. Karate, okay.
Karate.
I was like, yeah, I played a bit of karate when I was a young lad.
I believe it's karate.
It's like there's a new Irish sport, like karate. I'm like, oh, that's karate. Oh, man.
I just forget how we pronounce A's and R's.
Yeah,
you guys.
sorry. Man,
or
yeah.
O's, I should say. Is that what you guys say? Or R?
For what? For
the letter. I'll draw it. This letter.
The R. We say R.
R. Okay.
You say R.
We say
R.
Yeah, we say R or.
Or. Yeah.
It's like you roll with it.
Interesting. An or. Yeah. Okay. So Ireland, right? That's what.
Well, yeah, Ireland.
Jillian said to the.
It's more like A or E.
Oh, okay.
What we say.
Oh,
or
yeah. Eor. Fuck.
Eor.
Eorland.
Eorland.
That's my American attempt at an Irish accent is Eorland. That's me.
It's a lot better than Ireland.
Ireland. My mom. Did I tell you my mom said Ironland once?
Ireland. I could agree with that.
You don't even know her, and you can agree with that. Yeah, we'll take it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was not flexible. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get flexible. Like
that's amazing. That's great.
Like, because I'd seen again. I mean, the big kind of like inspiration to me. I got into MMA and I carry on anyway, but like the one guy I looked at who was fucking inspiring because he was doing all that shit was George St. Pierre.
Okay.
And I saw him, like, he took up gymnastics, and I was like, Christ, he's in his 30s and he's doing gymnastics and he's getting flexible and doing crazy shit. And you're like, yeah, why the fuck can I do it?
If you do it right, you can do almost anything.
Yeah,
that's
I think that's one of the big problems with people's training. I think it's like with not so much parkour because we were all beginners, we all understand it, but like you do see a lot where people. Someone new comes in and they train them to like their own level rather than to that person's level.
Yeah.
And I think that's like we touched on it earlier about parkour. Where it's like people try to train to someone else's level when they're in a group. Where it's like, oh, that person just hit that crazy jump. I'm gonna go try that.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't do it. Rather than just being like, yeah, I got this. It's like, oh, I don't know, but I don't want to get showed up by these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's never that pressure. Just,
no, never really. It's a story you tell yourself. Oh, I have to get that now because if I don't get it, I will be less than I am in this moment. And it's like, and it literally happens in a second. Like, and in many cases, people don't even think of it as a thought. It's a feeling. And even myself, I don't catch the thought a lot, but it's the underlying story that fuels that reaction. It's a knee-jerk gut reaction that just happens instantly in those moments. You're like, oh, you did a cool flip. You have that moment of being in childhood awe of like, wow, that was so cool. Then it's like, well, how does it relate to me? Like, I can't do that, or I can do that, or I should be able to do that. I feel like that's the worst, man. When you say, I should be able to do this, and that goes for anything. You know, if you're somebody, I don't know, our age, and you're like, oh, I should be able to touch my toes, like, that immediately states your what's the word? Not inequality, what was I getting at? Your insufficiency. You're admitting, you're saying, in this moment, I am not enough. And you say, I should be able to do this, I should be able to do this, I should be able to ask the girl out. You're saying, I'm inefficient in these ways. And on the one hand, it's good because you identify your problem so you know where to go to, like, fix it. Of course, it also tells you your unconscious thing is going to be to stay away from the thing that you want to work on. Like stretching for a lot of people is like, oh, I don't do that. I'm not flexible. That tells me to go away from it and I'm good. But for me, what I've been working on a lot is not I should be, but I want to be. Like changing for me, and then people get mad when I try to do this with them they care about. I'm like, you should change your shoulds to wants. They're like, shut up, I want to vent right now. I'm like, but if you just change it, you'll have more control. But yeah, I just changed my like, I should be able to do that Kong pre, or I should be able to do. Oh, sorry, you don't say Kong pre, you say cat pass pre. Cat pre.
We would say Kong pre a bit, but yeah, cat pre usually.
I want to do this move, stride precision or whatever, running precision or whatever.
Land the jump.
Like I should be able to do it. Says I'm not enough right now, but I want to. Says like it's already implied that you're not doing it in this moment because you watched it happen. But if you say I want to, it gives you a choice of how you want, like how you get to feel about it. Whereas I should is like telling your subconscious like I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, and I want as I can be.
A big part of what you're describing there, it's like it's personal ownership. Like you're accepting it. You're going like because you could say I want or I should all your life, but if you don't go do it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And what you're doing with the way you frame it for yourself is you're saying like I want, which means like I want to do it, so why the hell don't I do it?
Yeah.
Rather than it's like I should, where you feel obligated. You're like, it's very easy to fob off something that you feel obligated to do.
And you also you create. What I find is the obligation. You create resentment. Yeah. For me, it creates resentment in myself, and it's like, well, then I hate myself for not being able to do this or that. It's like, well, great. Isn't that a fun life to live in when you hate yourself? No, it's not. But
yeah, and then especially with something like any physical pursuit, right? Then you start to not just hate yourself, but hate the body you're in. Which is a really slippery and dangerous road to go down. That's
rough. Because then people like, you work with clients and they're like, I don't want to touch that. Like, dude, you probably should. Like, even if it's just like by a centimeter, like you should touch your ankle. But I can't touch then you definitely should. Like, or you definitely want to. Excuse me. See, I already did it. And it did the thing.
Like the example I give to people is because there was a guy who I was training and there's a few people who've done it, but this guy kind of sticks in my mind where he torn his hamstring like 2 or 3 times and then would refuse to stretch his hamstring. And I was like, he's like, oh, I don't enjoy it, I don't want to do it. I was just like, maybe this is the thing you should be doing though, because it's like you're strong as an ox, you can do this stuff, but you need to get flexible. Like again, I probably said this on the podcast before, but I use like a rusty door analogy. They're like, what I mean by that is this is just a mobility thing, but it's like no matter how strong that door is, if the hinges are rusty and you can't get it open, it's not much use.
Yeah, right. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah.
So it's like, if you can't get it open, it doesn't matter how strong or useful it is. Like if you can't get it to do what it's meant to do, then it's useless. And then that just leads to loads of fucking problems. True. And I think that's the nice thing about parkour as well, that it forces you not just to like assess yourself, but like to kind of face the fears around those things.
Yes. Totally.
I remember like chatting to a coach friend of mine about this recently. He's put up some article about how it's really important to face fears on a regular basis. It's kind of like you kind of do that every day when you go and do some parkour. Like,
yeah, no, because it's like that's how you guide. It's like I can't do this now. I want to do it now, and like I don't often return to something I know I can do really well. Yeah. It's nice to like. There's a nice sweet spot where like I think I can get to this. Like, oh man, I should like. Or I want like I want to get to this. I think I can. I'm not sure, but like, what if I worked with it? What if I played with it? Can I do this? And the other one is because there's an infinite amount of like angles that you can go at something. You can literally work the same jump like basically a million times, like or a similar jump or like a similar spot, which we do. We return to the same spot like over and over and over again. Yeah, exactly right. You return to that same spot and you work. Maybe not the same jump, but you work similar jumps, and we do work the same movements in different places. And that's one other thing I love about what we do is that it applies to literally everywhere because there's always new environments. And for me, I think one of the reasons that really resonated with me is because I knew when I could travel. One, it helped me be inspired to travel because I was like, I want to be in those environments and play in them. The other one is if I train my body to do this, I can experience those environments very fully. Like, for example, when I was in Thailand, there was this island that my Australian friend took me to, and there were a bunch of the Stora guys, a bunch of the British guys were on there. We came in there's this cave, and it was like, I guess we'll do it in meters, like, I don't know, like 10, 20 meters high. That's really high, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, what? It'll be like 30 feet, 30, 60 feet.
Sounds about, yeah. It's like, it was a really high cave. It was just this inner cavern that just went straight up. And the only way up was this massive root structure. And I was like, we should climb that root structure. Of course, the Stora guys were like, oh yeah, we already did it. That was easy. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, and then it was like, I have to do it. But I wanted to do it, really. And we did. We climbed all the way up to the top. And it was one of the coolest experiences of my life. I just wish there was more light so I could have gotten more footage. But like... Man, it was just so cool, but I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to explore that like environment if it wasn't for my training for the last, at the time it would have been 6 or 7 years. Just wouldn't have had the mental fortitude for it.
Yeah, I mean that's like it's developed as part of the sport. I mean, and it's also like probably more importantly than anything else, you learn your limits.
Yes, exactly.
Like I think that's the one thing where people like. It's probably why people are amazed that we don't injure ourselves more.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't go do something you can't do.
But even like, and I'm sure you've had it, where you go and train, and you go to a jump that you know you can do, you've done 100 times, and your brain goes, no.
Yeah, and just today says...
Yeah, today, no, I can't do it today. You're just like oh, I don't know why this is happening, but I know to just step away.
And I'm sure there's like a lot of factors too. Like for me, it's probably like fatigue, dehydration, how much food I've had, what kind of nutrition I've had. Like, does my brain feel comfortable doing this movement at this level of nutrition? And I'm sure a nutritionist and like some sort of reading could like tell me the optimal, like, this is what you should have in your body when you feel like good like this. Or maybe I should go get my blood test done in a moment where I like did a cool jump or like did something on a rooftop and just only live like that forever. And that's probably, it wouldn't surprise me if that like totally unlocked me. But like, I mean, yeah, it just...
Yeah, but it's like one of the most important concepts I was shown for training people, like, because there's loads of like fancy scientific stuff I could go into for specifically that. But like the most important thing, which is what you just described without putting a name on it, is auto-regulation. That like you learn how to regulate your own body and learn like those feelings and what the hell they are. Even if you don't know, it's like, alright, this means low blood sugar. You might be like, well, I know I need to eat something around this time, otherwise my training's gonna suck. Like people, it's one thing I say to a lot of people, it's like people are inherently, for the most part, like smarter and stronger when it comes to their own bodies than they're willing to believe.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of people question themselves a lot of the time. And I mean, I described this with one of the guys, and it's actually really relevant to what we were just saying, that like you'll see it with people, and I've had it with dozens of people, where they get like, say a person gets their first pull-up and they go like, that was amazing, everyone cheers and fucking, I'm like, well done, and then it's just like, oh, but I can't do it again. And then they can't do it. You spend like a month trying to get back to what they were doing, and it's like, I saw you do it. Like, I just saw you do it. You can do this. And
it kills me too. Like when I see somebody that like can't do like a pull up, it's like you have nothing to lose except your own pride every time you fail. But if you can just remove that from it, just keep trying. Your body literally will learn how to do it, but you have to put 100% in, because that you compound on that 100%. So if you're at 10% of the rep, and then 3 weeks later you're at like 50% of the rep, and then like finally you get your chin almost to the bar. Like you build on that, and like a lot of people will just drop out after they're at the 10%. They're like, well, that doesn't count. I'm like, yeah, it does. 10% is 10 times
more than you were.
1 plus 0 from where you were. Like, right? Yeah, 10 times 1 plus 0.
Yeah. It's like I mean, we talked about it earlier when we were stretching, where we were just saying like task orientated training.
Yeah.
Like it's essentially what parkour is.
That's exactly. It's totally incentivized me to like, I would never like go to the gym. Maybe I would if I wanted a product. Like I want my body to look better. Well, in my case, it's jumps.
Yeah,
I want to
but
jump.
even if you want to jump better, there are things you can go into a gym to do to jump better.
Exactly.
But
But now I do that.
To be honest, that's probably like the only critique I've ever had of parkour athletes, is that like they don't
actively do stuff outside of it.
But also, it's like,
that's kind of the point. So you don't have to go in
hilarious because so many parkour guys are a complete contradiction of like standard sports science, where people are like, oh, if you can jump X distance, you should be able to lift X amount. And then you have guys who've like never lifted a single thing. And I've had it with 2 or 3 guys I've trained, and like pretty high level guys, at least in my eyes. And then they go in and like they can lift insane weight, and you're like, oh, okay. Like they've never done it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But it's like the body just learns. But then
it does.
You pick up injuries, and if you don't know how to address them, then you don't know how to fix them. I mean, that's the one thing that I want to give back, because I have years of knowledge of dealing with people who've been broken up. I mean, that's why I got training, because like I was doing martial arts and I saw loads of guys getting crazy injuries and not really doing anything to fix it, or even just minor ones, and then them compounding over the years. I think that's you see the same thing in parkour. It's like, it's not this kind of like man up attitude, or just get on with it. It's like everyone knows, like, all right, sit down and come back to this, or whatever. But it's like you don't do it else outside of that to go fix it.
Yeah, totally.
But it is the fucking amazing sport, and discipline, and it's amazing community, which is why we're able to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah, no, it's been such a guide. Like I can't say, like, I don't know. I've been back and forth, and like for you, like, is it a hobby? Is it a passion? Or is it I don't know, like what's another one, like, or is it a discipline? Like I'm not sure.
It's an estranged mistress.
Yeah, like something like that. Like
for me, it's the thing that I've always wanted to do, but never knew I wanted to do it.
Oh, the parkour stuff?
Yeah. Like, I always knew I wanted to do it, but I never knew it was something you can do, essentially. Like, the internet's been the best thing in the world for parkour because we're able to see what it is and that, like, you can go and do it.
Yeah, that it's even on the table.
Like, I was watching, you ever watch, like, Jump London and...
Yeah, I did,
Jump
man.
Britain?
OG, did you watch the Daniel Ilbaka documentary too? Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
I do know the one you mean, but I can't remember either.
I had it. It was they were promoting a video game.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was like.
Oh yeah, it was the false something.
What did you play that game?
No, I haven't done it. It's terrible.
It was fun for like half an hour to an hour, and then it was like, oh my god, there's like a whole story, which was only like 3 hours story, but like still, it was like I felt like the longest. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's like a really crappy 3-hour film.
Yeah, exactly. Ilbaka was great though. It was an awesome freaking project that he was on.
But like, it's one of those things that I've probably said in some of the other parkour podcasts that I've done, which will be published. I do promise people. But like, it was so funny to watch it because that documentary. I think it was Jump Britain. Where, you know, it was like the
Yamakasi guys and Sebastian.
Yeah, it was Seb's in it, and he does the it's like a Kong front flip.
Did he really do it in that one?
I think it was in that one. It was like,
are you sure?
Yeah, remember they're in the gym.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like done in the gym. But
back
like,
in the day.
Yeah, but that was like the first time to them, at least known to them.
Like, yeah, that's crazy.
Anyone who accomplished that move.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I remember, I think it was like last October.
It was the first time it was ever captured on.
Yeah.
You know, that's another one.
But that's
too.
what I mean. It was like that they knew of because there could have well been.
That's true.
100 other guys who did it.
Because if you look back at some of the old gymnastics vaults, like I think Kong gainers actually have been done, like in competition in like the 80s, I think, or like the 60s. Like there was like I've seen one footage of like this person from it even says the old timestamp in the corner. You're like, dude, and this woman, or I think it was like I can't remember. I think it was a guy. Dun, 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 does a friggin' Kong gainer, and that was his fault. And I was like, geez, like.
But like watching that documentary, it was like that was 10 years ago. The first time, at least known, or at least on film, that someone had done that.
That's incredible.
And then it was like on Instagram last October. There was like a challenge for everyone to do it. There was like hundreds of people doing crazy versions of it. And it's like the rate at which the sport's evolved thanks to the internet has been insane.
It's insane. It's just
sport discipline. I don't know what to call it these days. Parkour, it's just great stuff. But even that, even saying parkour to people, it's like no, it's like the displacement, or it's
or the free running thing,
or it's movement.
Urban roof jumping. I've heard that one. I've heard
camping.
urban climbing. It's like, okay, well, and I don't know if you want to get into that, but I remember there was, you know, in the beginning a lot of, I'll say, frustration in that like David Bell never really like, he made sure to stay. He didn't like play hardball with terms.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that, you know, for a lot of people, but Wikipedia did.
And the internet did.
Yeah, well, the internet did, yeah.
That's the problem.
Well, yeah, well, but then because he never did state anything, it was like, well, okay, so what's going on here, man? And then there's the opinion, which I think I suppose I have, and I don't usually agree with the internet necessarily, but might have to agree with the internet on this one, like, because, you know, the whole parkour and freerunning debate, like, are they the same, are they different? Mm-hmm. What do you think I'm going to say, first of all? I'm curious. You know me for a couple of days. Do you think I'm a separatist, or do you think I'm who cares?
Like, to be honest, I don't think many parkour guys in today's day and age do care. That's from the ones I meet. Obviously, like, you guys are training in a different continent, but pretty much everyone I've met in Europe is just like, just
what I've found is that the people who are, well, I don't think of myself as the best, but at all, like in any capacity. But like,
I don't think anyone who's the best in their discipline does.
Thinks they're the
and
best.
The ones who usually think they're the best usually are pretty shit.
Yeah, there you go. But people who are like very competent, especially in the flip, like in the free running, in the flip side of it, like those people typically don't care, and I get why they don't. I totally do. It might surprise you that I'm a little bit more of a separatist than most, and I don't really say it very much. And I'm not, and I would never like. And I told my business partner this. I'm like, I'm not going to indoctrinate kids. I'm just going to, you know, if they ask, I'll say my opinion, and I'll encourage them to ask other people and then develop their own opinion. And I actually wrote a whole essay about why the difference between those two terms do matter. It's a long one. Well, because I don't really articulate it to people because I don't want to get into fights with them, man. I like friends, you know? Like, I know, what a crazy idea. I like friends, but I do think it kind of matters a bit. But it sounds like, from my understanding...
From talking to you, I think the reason, at least to me, why it matters...
Okay.
It does matter to me, but...
So you do, it does, okay, because you kind of say it like it's you don't care and you kind of just... Because you don't know that I care.
Like, at the end of the day, I don't. But there is a reason why it does matter.
And I think that reason is growing, and I would hope that one day, especially with the fig thing...
The reason that matters so much is because of the history of the discipline. And I think, like, we had a conversation about this the other day, that, like, so many people have no idea.
They have no clue what a climb up is.
Yeah. Like, they just kind of assume it's like a 3 or 4 year old thing.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's new because I saw it. People are so...
Yeah, it's like they saw Star, or they saw Dom, or they saw Farang, or they saw...
Yeah, they're so sure that they know. They've seen one... Like, do you really think, like, yeah, I know biology because you looked at one... like diagram of a human body, you think you know, you know biology because you looked at one diagram. Like, I know that immediately. I don't know, and even then, like, I'm even at a point where I'm willing to say maybe I don't. You know, what do you have to teach me? And I'm open to that, and I think maybe some of that we get into my buddy's a level 2. Actually, he's the only level 3 in the West Coast. The guy I'm starting the gym with, Parkour Generations. He's the only level 3 certified coach on the West Coast. So
what's his name?
Dustin Sharp.
Shout out to Dustin.
Yeah, he's cool guy. Built him up pretty big.
Better be good.
He's good, and I think too, like he's definitely less of a flips guy, and he's more of a parkour guy. I will say, like a pure parkour guy.
That's something we'll touch on in a minute, but
I'll
let you continue.
I mean, like, I forget where I was going with that, but what were we talking about?
The difference between parkour and freerunning.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and I told him, like, like, I'm not gonna force anything on the kids or anything. I think that the separation does matter, and I think it's becoming more and more important as the internet decides. My issue with it from the beginning, which I saw immediately from that split, was like, it's going to matter more and more as more and more people learn about it. Like, and especially since I've always kind of had the idea, not always, but like had an idea of a gym in my head. It's like, okay, well. And I'm not even thinking like to make $1 billion. I'm just thinking like to keep it running and to keep the vibe positive. Are you more comfortable allowing your kids, who you may or may not be coordinated, learning movement over, under, and through, like upright, looking forward, probably less inversion than you would if you were doing like the flip stuff, which is like, we will call them Tempest kids. Do you know what I mean by that? Yeah. You don't know. You don't really. Do you have Tempest kids here, really? Yeah. You have how?
Not like Tempest people, but
right.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? It's just like, let me just like twist everything early without. I can't even do a push up to support myself.
There's 2 people who come to mind, and it was like we were saying yesterday, and like that. I think his name is Andrew. Alexander, sorry.
Bulgarian guy?
I know a Bulgarian guy.
He's a monster. I don't think that guy cares at all.
That guy's flips.
Yeah.
They're what I'm talking about when someone does parkour flips.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, like, his landing sounded like this, people.
Oh, okay. You said like the cross, the integration.
Because I've seen other people land, and it's every single time.
Yeah.
And you're saying it to them, and they're like, early 20s.
Like, no, I'm fine.
And it's like, I can't flip for shit. I'm
sure.
openly admit that right now. I can't. I'm working on it.
It's so funny that, let's just acknowledge for a moment that you have to acknowledge, like, you have to, I'll admit that I can't flip.
I'm doing a podcast about parkour. I can't flip. I don't care that I can't flip. I'm working on it because they're cool, but like, it's going to take me time, and I accept that. But it's also like, in my head, there's like 3 or 4 flips I'd like to get down.
Sure.
And the only reason I want to get those down is because I could put them into a run.
Yeah, and you think they're cool.
Yeah, and they just look cool.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you see people do this stuff over and over, and they're landing like that, and you're like, this is going to fucking wreck you.
It's going to wreck you over time, man. Like, those knees, like, super far over, or like an under-rotated thing.
That sound. If you're hitting with that, like, if someone was doing that with Breeze, straight away you go like, yeah, dude, you're doing something wrong there. Like, and yet, people do it with flips, and it's, oh yeah, that's cool, you landed a cool flip. It's like, well, Alexander guy, he lands those fucking, like,
he does.
like,
He lands
soft
pretty
as a feather. Like,
I was very impressed.
But you can also land some decent jumps, so it's like,
yes. I was so surprised. It blows my mind, because I did that Kong precision. He didn't do it. That blew my mind. But he did the big dive Kong, which to me was like
way scary.
like it was the same gap, but back and a dive Kong. I'm like, you're literally throwing your head and body out there, like
on like a rounded wall on the other side too.
Yeah, it just killed me that he was like, oh, that is very impressive. I'm like, nah, dude, it's whatever, because he's, in my mind, he was so much better than me and just a coordinated athlete more than me. He was like, oh, no, I cannot do that. I'm like, whoa, that's your line? That's your line, big guy? Like, because he did this weird side flip where he threw his leg, like, behind him and then did a side. I'm like, and he's like, oh, just try this. I'm like, no. Like, I'm not going to just try that on concrete, but he would. So he definitely has the mental game for sure. Like, yeah. But one thing, too, that I've noticed is, like, the guys that are really good, I find, and I don't know if this is insulting or whatever, but, like, the guys who are, like, really good sit more in the feeling and the experience of the movement. And there's as we know in parkour community, there's a lot of individuals with nuanced truths and like nuanced ideas and things. And I think for those people, and usually like me, who I'm just not as good as the Bulgarian guy. It's just a fact. Like,
well, I mean, like you'll probably say he is. Like you're better at other things. And
well, apparently I'm better at the Kong precisions than him, which that blows my mind.
But that to me, like you said it earlier, where even like a raw beginner can point something out to you and it can value, like it can.
Yeah, there's value. Oh yeah.
That's the thing in parkour too. I mean, I've seen it with some of the top guys, where you have someone who is better at them. Like, sorry, better than them at certain things, and they'll go like, "Shit, man! Like, there's no way I could do that." And then you're looking at them going, "Wait, what? Like they can't do that?" That
kills me, because in my mind, I've trained the way that I think you should train, and that's foundationally basic strength. Start on the ground, because we don't know what you are. Quadrupedal movement. Mm-hmm. If you can do the rails, great, awesome. Like that should come in at some point. Do the QM on the rails, like, definitely.
I've jokingly said what you're describing to people before, where it's like learn to crawl before you walk, before you run.
Like literally though, like.
But for you, it's like learn to crawl before you walk, before you free run.
Yeah, exactly, dude. No, exactly. And to me, like the parkour in this community, the parkour specific movements are like the walking, and then the free running is like the full free, whatever you want to do at that point. Like we've talked about this. You know, we want to focus on foundational movement to start. And of course, the kids will figure out some sort of a testing way so that they can, if they truly are good enough, like maybe like a trial period, they can then test into quicker to do like the free running stuff because they want to. Because at the same time, as a business owner, you can't afford to turn away business by principle. We're just not going to be that abundant that we can just know. Like, and doing that to one student, like a talented athlete, like to say like somebody who would be playing football, they'll just turn around and go play football. Like, and then look up the YouTube videos, which is another issue I have, is like even charging for it at all, because like I just figured it out, and then the mom comes up to you. Yeah, the mom comes up to you and goes like, "Oh, can you teach my kid?" I'm like, he can teach himself. Like you literally are doubting him right now. Like my mom, thank God, she.
Yeah, it's like that kid can teach me stuff. Like.
Yeah, exactly. In a lot of ways, you know. I mean, I was very fortunate to have a mom that, like, when I was a kid, and I didn't realize this because obviously, you know, every mom's got like, you know, there's stuff that happens.
They do mom things.
Yeah, they do mom things, and they fuck you up a little, let's be honest. Like, there's little things that your parents do that fuck you up in little ways.
I mean, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, your parent could do something like completely unrelated to you, and it somehow fuck you up.
And it'll wreck you, and you won't even know why until you're 25 and you're in your...
Get a weird flashback, like something in Nam, and like, oh shit.
Oh God, that's why I act like that towards men or women or whatever. Like, that's why I do that. But the one thing she did let me do was play on playgrounds. And every time I asked... I said, "Oh, playground, can we play?" And my mom would go, "Yeah, sure." Almost every time. Like, I don't have a memory of her not saying yes. And that was one of the few things that she just always let me do. And she always let me go to the top of the structure and do what other kids like weren't allowed to do. And I don't have any recollection of this, but she even told me, she was like, "Yeah, other parents were scared to let their kids climb to the top, and you know, they were nervous about it, but I realized I couldn't stop you or really catch you. So I just encouraged you, because I figured by you focusing on what you're doing, you're going to be safer than kids that are like, oh, please don't do that or whatever." Anyway, we've totally gone off here.
Well, no, I mean, like that comedian, that Irish comedian sitting the other day, he has a great bit about
Tommy Tiernan?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's him. But he has a bit about it where he says, like, there's like this classic Irish mother thing where they'll say, like, if you fall off that and break your legs, don't come running to me. He's like, first off, that makes no goddamn sense. And it's like, secondly, that's reinforcing to your child, like, don't go up on that thing, you're going to break your legs. So it's like,
And then you won't have. I will withdraw support of my love from you for failing at competent movement.
I won't help you if you get injured doing that thing. That's the time when you need their help the most.
That's way more terrifying than getting a broken leg.
That's what scares a kid.
Yeah, that scares me right now. I'm scared.
It's like
not even my mom.
Yeah, if you fall over, that's just time. But if your parents ignore you, it's like it's not much you can do to get that time back.
No, there's not. There really isn't. And you don't know it as a kid. You don't know she's just like saying that. You don't know.
Yeah, but
that.
I mean, like as a kid, you take so many things literally.
Literally, yeah.
Because that's
totally
how
do.
you survive to adulthood, basically.
And maybe emotionally in the moment, the parent does mean that. Like, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like, do what I say. I don't want to deal with it.
It probably is. I mean, they're dealing with their day-to-day life, raising a kid.
Being
the
a
last
kid,
thing they need is a kid with a bloody leg or whatever. You know?
Being a parent is something.
It's not easy. No one gets it right.
Yeah, right? You know? No one gets it perfect.
No matter what anyone says, no one gets it right.
Yeah, man. What were we talking about before? We were talking about something to do with parkour. I was getting at what was I getting at?
The difference between...
Well, the difference, so like textbook Wikipedia is like parkour is about efficient movement, running, jumping, climbing, over, under, through, and then free running is anything and everything movement in a run. And again, my big disparity in knowing that I'm going to train kids is like, well, I know parents are going to be more comfortable, like a wider range, which we're going to have to appeal to a wider range of audience, so like a wider audience. Like the parents are more comfortable with their kids staying upright than their kids inverting. And it's just a fact. Like,
it's just human nature.
Like if you watch like a toddler class of like gymnastics, as soon as the kid like topples over, the parents go like, oh my god, and they like reach over and grab him. It's like, no, like if he's not hurt, let the child be in that position that's a little uncomfortable, so that they
also
know
learn how to do that properly. Huh?
Yeah, and then maybe learn how to, or like sort of coax them into like getting over and give them little tiny guides, or like poke them in the right way or something, and like get them to flip over.
Instead of falling on his face.
Yeah, or just gently stop them so that they're not hurting, but like they have to. I don't know. I'm gonna be a weird parent, I know, but
See, I'm really excited to see like guys like you and like similar friends as parents.
Like how are they gonna do it? And
then because like to me,
what if my kid becomes a drug lord? Like I'm freaking out, man. I don't even have kids.
He's gonna be the most ninja drug lord. No?
He's gonna be the best drug lord ever because no one's gonna catch him.
Deliver right to their house. Yeah.
Hiya! Here you go. Here's the drugs.
It's like call up for some drugs. It's like I'm outside your window.
But yeah, so like that's like the textbook difference, and then. I know that at least they made you do it in the PK Gen level 1. They kind of like clear it up, and I mean to be fair, they are like basically is run by the Yamakasi, right? Like they started anyway. They went over the program, and I do have a respect for it, and I do have a respect for them having come in at all. And I love that I was able to do level 1. I do plan on doing level 2 at some point.
I did my level 1 last year, actually, this month last year.
Nice. Did we meet on that group?
No, you were on the Dublin Park.
Okay, that's all right.
Also, just a random shout out to anyone who has listened to this podcast. If there are like sound or I don't know, cool hazards. I don't know what international terms, but yeah, if you need a place to crash in Dublin, hit me up. I mean, that's how I met Ryan.
Yeah,
it's like this is a community. We're here to help each other.
Yeah, and
that's the thing that kind of shocked people about this. Like, what?
They're like, what?
Stranger in your home?
At the same time, I do understand though. They're like a little bit of, and I don't know if I have experienced it or not, but I do sense that like in some of the communities when I don't have like a tie in, there's a little bit of like a pause. Like they don't really reply the first time because like I could just be some guy. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
I understand that concern.
The main reason why I agreed is because you know Rafe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, if he knows Rafe, he's probably pretty sad.
Am I? I hope so.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've been pretty cool.
You're not a bad egg.
Yeah, I think I've been nice. Like, let me know if I'm not. But yeah, it's if you're in the community, you're good. But that's how you know you're in. If you're in.
Yeah, I mean, it's the great thing about social media as well. It's like you know that if that person knows someone that you know, chances are. Yeah. And you can also just go ask that person. People are super worried.
Totally. People are absolutely blown when I like told them. I was like, yeah, I'm staying with friends. Like, do you know them? Like, I mean, yes. Like, I know. I've been talking to them for like the last couple months. And actually I got stopped by customs. I've never actually been grilled by customs before. By the Dublin customs
Irish
guy.
Customs of all
Yeah, he was like, and I thought you guys were friendly. Like, we're American. I thought that was cool. But like,
you liked us.
Yeah, but he was just like, dude, have you stayed with him before? And I'm like, well, no, but because I'm like, tell the truth, but I just need to get past this line.
Get kicked out of here
because my bags are really heavy. Like, I need to sit down. I was like, I could give you his number if you want. He's like, it's the address. I'm like, oh, Facebook load, please. Like let me show him the address. And it did, thank God. But Yeah, another guy got stopped, man. It stopped the line for like 50 minutes. Or not like 50, like 30-ish minutes. But it was just like, dude, we've been here for like a long time standing here waiting. I feel for those people. I hope they figured it out. But anyway, we were talking about the difference between... It's not even that there is a difference or whatever. It's that, you know, for some people there... I'll say, for some people there is a difference. And for some people there isn't. And that difference is irrelevant. Because some people will swear by that. The reason it's relevant too, as ultimately is, again, I believe it's like twofold. It's the parents, it's the future, it's the generation that doesn't understand what we do, and to give them like, look, okay, this is like something we can package and sell you, basically, that you will put your kid in. Teaches basic competent movement, and from there, once they have a foundation, then they can do literally whatever they want with it. Because again, we don't just train. Was it you said we don't train the individual? No, we don't just train them to our level. We train the individual to their level, and that's, in my mind, that's the case for every single coach. And maybe this is
should be that's the thing.
Or maybe this is a problem for me as a coach. Like, no one's really ever called me on it, but I give an individual correction, and maybe that's a little gymnastics thing I picked up. But I give an individual correction for almost each and every student on almost each and every rep. Maybe that's more work than I need to put in, because I see a lot of coaches just kind of like, here's the drill, go. Like,
you see, that's like, as someone who coaches people, like it's such a fine line, like in my opinion at least, and from having talked to a lot of coaches about it, there's a really fine line between undercoaching and overcoaching. Yeah. And again, that's such an individual thing. And it's a case by case. Yeah, because some people you give them 100 bits of feedback and they'll just freak out at you for it and be like, stop it, and they might just need one bit of feedback. Yeah. Exactly. Or it could be the person who you give one bit and they're like, why are you talking to me? What's going on? Did I do something? Exactly. Another thing I do is I'm a little too invested. Like, I want that kid, because like if I see that they can do it and I know they can just do like this 3 more things, but if that 3 things is above their threshold for being able to handle it, then like you said, that would be an example of overcoaching at that point, because the child will get discouraged or the student will get discouraged and not want to do it anymore. And that's my problem, is that I care too much. I think that's just like a life problem for me. It's like I care too much about too many things. It's a good thing as a coach, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes me a better coach, because when I look someone in the eye and I'm like, we're going to get you your backflip today. Like, if they come to me specifically for that. These are usually non-parkour or free running or gymnastic people. They want to get a backflip. We're going to get this today, and if we don't, we're going to get darn close. Like, we're going to get within reasonable, like, where you can at least pull a trigger yourself, even if you don't land it. Which I did right before we left. Which is freaking awesome. I got another black flipper in the world. So the twofold was something we can package to parents and society and like people that don't really understand what it is. Like, this is literally accessible for every human being on the planet to some degree, right? It doesn't have to be big jumps. It can literally be like, you're a senior citizen. How am I going to get over this 2-foot ledge?
Well, the way I view it, and I think, you see the guy in Paris who rescued the baby off the balcony?
Yeah, what do you think of that? That's another one.
It was amazing, but I was just amazed that no one else did anything. But I look at that and think to myself, that is why you do it. Yeah. Let's say, like, the example of old people, and this example that I give, is like, alright, what was the very first things you said that you should learn doing parkour?
What is it, climbing or precision?
You should learn your crawls.
Yeah,
you should learn your walks. You should learn your climbs. You should learn all your fundamental movements. Yeah. Let's say you're an old person, right, and you can only jump 2 feet. Okay, yeah, jumps aren't going to be a thing. But if you can learn how to crawl, if your building's on fire, at least you'll be able to get on your hands and knees and crawl out of it.
I mean, dude, yeah.
Whereas the amount of old people I see, and if something falls on the floor,
that's death to them. That's literally death to them.
Like, if they fall, they could quite literally die.
Yeah. Like, even if you don't crawl correctly, the idea that you can crawl and the idea that you can
go from
get
one
out,
side of the room to the other,
that can save your life. Yeah. And that alone, and that's crazy. People don't think about that. They forget about senior citizens.
Yeah, people just go so flippant about it, and that's the problem. Like, when you're young, it's fine, but I could do that.
It's like, dude.
I mean, I teach a lot of people crawls just because 1, they're great, and 2, they're fun, and 3, I do a lot of bodyweight stuff. And you don't have equipment in the places I train people. Yeah. But the amount of times I've had people in gyms, like, you know, big buff bodybuilder guys pointing across, like literally laughing at me across the gym. And I'll never forget seeing one guy try one of the crawls I was doing and falling on his face.
That's great. Like a big dude with big shoulders.
Dude, like, and he gets down on his hands and knees and tries like 2 steps and falls right in his face.
That's great.
And then he's just like, yeah. But it wasn't out of like, you know, spite or anything. It's like, yes, this stuff is fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Like the amount of things we're doing today where it's like, you know, it looks like a piece of piss, and then you try it and you're like, oh my god, like
kids,
my whole body's doing stuff right now.
Yeah, kids like really make fun of this stuff. They're like, oh, I don't want to might. And like I've had this.
But it's also like you said, when they're flexible, when they're young, that stuff's easy to them. But they don't realize in 10 years
it goes
not
away.
Easy anymore.
Like they don't know that it's gonna go away.
But that's so hard to frame. Like we were saying yesterday that a year to a child, you know, that's an eternity to them.
It's forever.
To us, it's, you know, passing with 4 seasons is not a big deal.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
But I mean, if you're 6, you maybe only have 3 years tops in living memory, so that's a third of your life gone.
Yeah, that's insane.
1 year.
It's terrifying when someone says, "Oh, we're gonna live like this for a year," and you're like, "Oh my god, a year."
Yeah. If you say to a kid like, "Oh, it's a week away," like, "Oh my god."
Oh, it's a whole week. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh jeez.
Oh, am I converting already? Is it happening? The
conversion
is happening. The Guinness is in my blood.
Getting in there.
Like yeah, dude. That I've had kids literally like as I'm showing them QM. I try to show quadrupedal movement. Because like maybe it's just America, maybe I'm slandering my own country here, but like kids don't know what quad what does quad mean, and the smart homeschooled kids that aren't coordinated, they know what quad means. And I'm like, what does pedal mean, right? Like quadrupedal, like
touch kids.
I need to actually look that up. Pedal is either foot or leg, right? Is it foot? It's got to be foot.
I'm guessing it's foot. Yeah, pedal being a
pedal. It's got to be the foot. Yeah. Anyway, 4 foot or whatever. I should look that up to make sure. But
4 points of contact or something.
Yeah, and but like I just mentioned that on my spiel, and then like cool, and it looks like this. We're gonna get on our knees. We're gonna do our baby crawl. We're gonna pick up our knees, right? And if they're really new, then I just have them do a baby crawl so that they get the opposition down, and which is so funny that opposition comes so naturally to them when you have them do the baby crawl, but then you have them take the knees off the floor. I'm like, you're gonna do the same thing, but without the knees touching, and they go like, what? Like I can't do it, and the kids.
The amount of adults who say it to me, but like, you know, you do a basic, like you're saying, a real basic bear crawl, and they're like, this is so fucking difficult. Like it's so tricky. And,
like, and then do it backwards.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they
or
can't
sideways,
do it.
Or
they're like, what is this?
They're like, wait, what? So like left hand, right foot? You're like,
yeah, left hand, right foot. Yeah, opposite arm,
like,
opposite
you
leg.
do it when you walk.
And I just
do it here.
Yeah, and I just keep saying opposite arm, opposite leg, and they're like, what? Like they have to really sit there, and they're just baffled at their own hands. They sit there for like 10 seconds, like, okay. Like, but that's good that they meet that. You know what I mean? Like,
you see, like the one thing that I'm so jealous of America for, and obviously you guys have the space for it, but it's gyms.
Yeah.
So you guys have gyms. I mean, up until recently, up north they had the playground, but now that's gone. Sadly, hopefully they'll be back better than ever soon. But like that's the one thing that we lack here, and it's the one thing that we need so much because of what you're describing as well. Is that like we are the generation now where we're trying to frame what the hell it is we do to the generation who've come before us, in order to be able to benefit the generation who'll come after us. Because there's a kid who comes to mind, I forget his name, but I think he's 10, and like I've seen him pull off like just fucking corks and shit. And
we've got so many of those in the freaking
and you're
gym.
like, this kid's 10, and then like crazy concretes and stuff, and you're like this kid's 10. And like he's only been training for I think like 2 or 3 years at that stage.
It's like
and
insanity.
You're like, when he reaches like 25,
what's gonna happen?
Imagine what he can do.
Like, what are they gonna do? Like, you want to believe. I mean, for us, where we're at, we want to believe that like that will peak. But like, I don't know, because then you see those limits get broken, and you're like,
it's like if you keep him away from drink, drugs, and sex, then and he laugh. But I mean, like I saw that in boxing so much. People
who like find a girlfriend and it's like, well, I don't really box anymore.
Or
actually,
or
that
college
happened.
Comes, or they take the drink for a while, and then the coach is like, man, you're not showing up. Like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, you know, I'm just, you know, partying or whatever. And then like they're just like, oh, fuck it, I'll just do doing this for a while.
Wow, yeah. Well, it's easier.
Yeah, or you go to college, or you know,
like, go to college, and it's
very easy for life to get in the way, and you make excuses. Like.
That's weird. You know, it's funny now that I think about that. You're talking about like, you know, girls and partying and that stuff. I remember thinking to myself when I was younger. I think I was. When I started training, actually. I think I was like 16, 17, or like 18. I broke my collarbone when I was 16, when like my 3rd month. And I was like, okay, so I messed up. Like, if I want to do this, if I want to be Spider-Man, I remember making this like deal in my mind of like, if you want to do this for real, you're gonna have to do it for real. Like, you're gonna have to take this seriously. We're gonna have to figure this out. We're gonna do this shit correctly before we go and do this crazy stuff. Damn it, that wasn't the point that I was gonna say though. Oh well. Yeah. Shit. Shite, as you say.
Yeah, talking shite. That's what we're all about here. Yeah, because I mean, this parkour is such an amazing discipline, and it's one that benefits so many people, and it's one, the kind of joke that I make to a lot of people, because I guess a lot of people, because it's a term that people use and people like to put terms on things, I guess a lot of people call me, like, air quotes, a movement coach.
You are a movement coach, because when you're coaching your clients, do you teach them parkour? Like, do you?
Yeah, some I definitely do, but I mean, the point I'm getting at is that for so many, that is a term that's kind of been co-opted into something else. Yeah. And the thing that I always say to people about parkour is that, like, people think of movement as, like, you know, cool contemporary floor work or something like that, or handstands or stuff. The way I explain it is they think of movement in a void, on like a hardwood floor in a weight room. To me, parkour is the ultimate expression of movement, because there's shit in your way.
Are you saying that buying into my, like, philosophy of that they should be different, or are you saying, like are you employing flips in that as well? Like, are you?
I'm saying if you want to move, if you want to add handstands in it, if you want to add flips in it, you can. But again, this is just, like, I don't know, I guess the sports scientist in me, you need to be fucking ready to do them.
Right.
Like,
agreed.
If you have an amazing handstand, that's sweet. But if you have a shit one and you try it on top of something like, you know, a pillar or something, you're gonna fuck yourself up if you mess it up, aren't you?
Yep.
And that's kind of the example that I give to people. It's like, any of this stuff, if you're like Alexander did, you know, if you can flip like that, then fucking power to you, man. Go do it.
Yeah.
Now, will he have to modify that technique as he gets older? Maybe. Of course.
Yeah, or maybe not. Who knows? Well, it was pretty clean.
I don't know. I mean, if he's like,
it's pretty clean.
Well, if I see a dude in his 70s pulling that shit off, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
I reckon that's gonna happen.
I'll rage quit life.
I'm rage quit. Well, you'll
done.
You'll be 90 at that time, so you won't really care. Like
I'm done.
Dude, I think that will be. We're gonna do a lot of stuff with our freaking stem cells, and like we're gonna revamp aging and stuff, and healthy eating, and people are gonna become more conscious. Like, there's a lot of people that, I mean, we can go into diets, but I'd like to stay on the parkour stuff. But they go in like vegan and vegetarian and plant based and stuff, and I mean they're eating cleaner. At least we'll say that they're eating cleaner than they were before.
People are becoming aware of health.
Yeah, even just moving in the direction is better than just eating 10 pounds of meat every day, which in America, I admit, like, I never really understood this, but we do.
It's
really
the thing, it's the example I give to people, and it's the example I give to a few Americans I talk to, is that, like, you guys had a problem and you fixed it too well in that.
Thank you. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We won. We won too hard.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, that was Roosevelt? Where he said, like, you wanted a chicken in every household.
I think, dude, that's
like,
amazing.
It was like a chicken in every
Well,
pot.
you're a history guy, but that's amazing that you as an Irishman know that. That just blows my mind.
You're like, I got no idea. I'm like,
I'm
pretty sure it's Theodore and Roosevelt.
What are the presidents before Trump? Like Bush? I don't remember.
The guy got shot and Lincoln.
Lincoln, yeah. That was the,
it's Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Oh, yeah, everyone knows Washington.
And what was that guy? He was like president for a few hours and then died.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know. That's what being American means. You forget your presidents and you drink
no idea of your own history.
Lots of soda. Like, that's it.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think, I forget the exact quote, but something like, you wanted a chicken in every pot in every home.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Now that's what you guys have achieved. But the problem is, you guys went for quantity over quality.
We have like 10 chickens in our every home, dude. Like, we have
like buckets of fried chicken.
Like, you had 2 in your fridge, okay? Like,
I mean, how many dead chickens are in one bowl of chicken wings?
Like, actually, that's a really good point. I reckon there's like 5 chicken breasts in my freezer right now at home. Like, not, I mean, it's our family's freezer, but like, it's in that freezer, and you just had 2. Yeah. And then you go and you get more when you need it. But if you don't have it, you don't need it.
I think that's the contradiction between America, or at least like North American countries, and a lot of the rest of the world. Not necessarily the rest of the world, but
sure.
Something that the rest of the world is aware of is that a lot of the rest of the world is focused on quality, because that's kind of how history has forced us to be. Whereas for you guys, it was like, no, just get the quantity, get it in.
Well, because
like,
no one else had it, and we had space, and we can do it. And if you got the money, it's like, why not, right? And they don't stop to ask why not. Like, actually ask, like, why not this?
Why are we doing this?
But yeah, no, I agree with you, man. But the whole, like, the movement towards the eating cleaner, I think, is going to dramatically help athletes in the movement and what we do and how long we do it. My buddy's 30, my partner's 30, my business partner's 30, and he's cleaner than ever. He's strong. I'm 26.
I mean,
I'm cleaner than I've ever been in my life.
The example I always give about parkour and how it works and how fucking like clean eating and parkour can make you an amazing human is Seb. Like Sebastian.
Oh, Sebastian. Yeah, well, that guy just that.
Like
dude,
he's 44. And
that man doesn't age.
Shape. Yeah, he doesn't look any different though he did when he was
He's like more muscular than he was.
But, like to be honest, I think that's because he conditions the fuck.
He really did. Well, anyone in the Yamakasi, they. So I heard a thing.
That was the biggest thing.
I heard a thing that to join the Yamakasi, this is back from, I can't remember which friend of mine told me this, that you had to train for a straight year and you weren't allowed to do any jumps, but you had to do all their conditioning that they did, but you weren't allowed to do any jumps until you'd completed your year. If you did a jump or they caught you doing a jump before you'd completed your year of conditioning and indoctrination, then you were out and you would not be, I don't know if this is true, but that's what I was told, is that you wouldn't be considered to be part of that group anymore.
But I mean, that was, I actually interviewed like a young guy, Aaron Reardon, about parkour, and it was the one thing that he said himself. He's like, if I could go back in time, because he's only 19, 18.
Mm-hmm.
He started like 5-6 years ago, and he said himself, like, the one question he was asked, so if you could go back in time and change anything with your training, what would it be? And he said conditioning.
Yeah.
And like, I think for a lot of guys that would be the thing. It's like, because especially now, I mean, the knowledge is getting there as to how to do it. I just don't think. Well, there's a few guys, like Ryan Ford's a good example of it, but like there's a few guys who are putting up like, here's the supplementary training you need to do for parkour.
Yeah, well, we're reverse engineering it. And like, yeah.
It's not a lot you need to do, but it's like these are the things you really should do.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's always can be resistance to that. I mean, I still see
totally. Well, part of the beauty of it, and I thought was great at the time, and that I don't know that I'm a part of it or whatever. Like, I definitely wasn't like the first wave. I was probably like the third or fourth or something like that of like kids as it grew, like as the internet happened, it exploded a little bit more. And maybe that's arrogant to say, I don't know, but like I felt like I was one of the first people. Like people were just like, "What? Why are you speaking French to me?" Like, just nobody knew what I was talking about. Damn it! What was I gonna say? What was I saying right before this?
Parkour.
Was that all that stuff was kind of up for debate, and you were free to like choose your way of doing it, and then how good you were or whatever was like, well, I can jump this far, and I did it with this technique, and these are the exercises I did to develop myself to get to here.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't standardized. So in a way, it was really cool because it gave you sort of that freedom. Admittedly, I'm sure there are scientifically proven ways to get it to optimize your everything, which is fine. But
I think the thing that you kind of touched on, without touching on it, is that you have like the old school philosophy.
Yeah.
And there's a few people I train with who still have that, but
please define that for me. What do you see in me that I don't seem to understand?
Right. Even something as simple as this, you're aware of the yamakasi.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like
that's like for me, right? I was aware of the yamakasi before I was aware of parkour being a thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, me too.
I saw them.
Those were the first videos that I watched after the Russian climbing or whatever. I was like, where did this come from? And I was like, this is the origin. Cool, awesome.
Like in my teens, me and my buddy, like we used to go to our local what our equivalent of Blockbuster was, and poor teenagers, we couldn't rent a lot of movies, but there was a deal on where you could rent I think it was like for €5 you could rent like 5 international films.
Nice.
So we ended up renting like fucking the Yamakasi and loads of other like fucking films like District 13 and all that shit.
I struggled to find those on YouTube. I couldn't really find them.
We were so lucky. We had just like one small shelf like the size of my fridge.
That's so cool.
And it would just rotate all these cool films in.
You actually got to see them all. Like I've seen clips.
You got to see District 13 like after it come out, and we're just like,
that's cool. It took me a while to see
this is fucking amazing. And we're like, what is this shit? And
that blew my mind.
And then I became aware of those guys, but I didn't. I just thought that was amazing stunt work.
Yeah. Oh my god. I wish. Why is let's go. Like.
Why isn't this?
I'll do it. Like me and my brother right now. We're doing stunt work on our Instagram. We're like, why why are we using? I get it, insurance and shit. Like I get why we're using wires and CGI. It's ends up being cheaper and more cost efficient, whatever. But like, dude, when you can do it, that makes the stunt more amazing. That it's real. That it happened to a degree, right? Maybe you follow on that.
You watch Ong Bak?
Oh my god!
Because I'm such like a kung fu film like nerd.
Technically, it's Muay Thai.
Max.
It's Muay Thai.
I know, but you know, it's martial arts cinema. As someone who does Muay Thai, just to drive you guys crazy, like
Muay Thai.
Yeah, I pretty much every shorebreather film I can get my hands on I've seen. But anyway, back to the point I was getting at. The thing that I've seen is, and what you described, is that there's a generation who's aware of that and who's aware of what those guys were trying to do and what they were doing. And once I got into parkour, I went back and looked at them and talked to people who train with them, because you know, Ireland, France is not far. And my friend Brian, who you met, is training with some of the guys. So I went back and was like, right, well, what were those boys doing? And I was like, right, let's figure this out. But like you described, there's a whole generation who've come into it through the internet, and they just do what they've seen on the internet. They skip
that whole
step.
base stuff.
And it's like, we're going to do this now.
And to be fair, I understand, because it's the same thing that when I see old documentaries, you see the old pixelated shit, you're like, I don't give a fuck. You're a young kid, you see this, oh, it's old, and they're not even doing flips, like, it's not cool. And they skip that shit, they do exactly what you're saying, they go right up to the rooftop, and store a blog, and they're cool, but, like, they skip where that came from. And I don't know if the store guys were really influenced by them, but I have a feeling like maybe they were, more so than the younger ones.
If you go back and look at like Jump Britain or whatever, you know, you'd see that and go like, oh, Con Gaynor, like, yeah, everyone could do that. You know, my friend Tom could do that. You know, it's like, rather than going like, yeah, this was groundbreaking shit.
I mean, it literally blew my mind. Do you know who Kalen Chan is right now?
Oh yeah.
Kalen Chan just did the first. He has his own name for it. It's a 360 Kong Gaynor full.
Was that the thing you put up the other day?
It was the newest.
I didn't even know what was going on. I just like saw him land it and was like, I didn't even think someone could land that many spins in that space of air.
I believe his name for it is a screwdriver Kong Gaynor full, which that's a long enough name to like be like, dude, what?
All right. This is gonna be hot take. Term you're used to.
Please, I actually like the warning. It's kind of fun.
It's good. So this is just something I throw out to people because this tells me a lot about their views on parkour. Did you watch this year's Art of Motion or like the previous one?
Well, this year they're not having it.
Yeah, but like the previous one.
You got it. I think I did.
So I think
2017.
Kalen won.
Kalen Chan won. I don't even remember anymore. I remember watching the German guy win because I was in Hong Kong at that time. I think I did watch the most recent one.
Yeah. So
what about it?
The only reason I ask is because afterwards I just went around and asked people like, oh, like who's your favorite person on it?
Oh,
and you get so many different answers. Hands down for me, it was Pedro Salgado.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. Yeah, I don't know if he was. I can't remember honestly.
He was up
there for me.
To me, actually, it was like
no. Blue Shorts won. Shorts won.
You're right.
Did you like Blue Short? You didn't like Blue Shorts?
I did, but it was
really.
It was too trickerish for me.
Too trickerish for you? Oh. Yeah. I feel like
Pedro did two things in that run where I was like, holy shit.
Remind me again what he did.
Right, the first one where he did a pre onto that little window ledge above the fucking windmill and like stuck it onto the wall.
Yeah.
And then like dropped down and then he got that like he almost tried to pre it but he ended up craning it where it was like a 40-50 foot gap.
He almost tried to pre it, but ended up craning it. Yeah, because the guy wasn't the guy in his way?
Yeah, there was like a cameraman who walked across and he fucking just craned it instead of preing it.
Yeah.
But it was like it was easily 50 foot or something. I was just
like... Not 50 feet.
Alright, I'll go back and look at it.
Feet?
It looked like it, man.
50 feet is impossible.
I know, he's a small guy.
My god, 50 fucking... No, man.
Alright, we're dealing meters, okay?
15 feet?
No, it was more than that.
You said 50 feet.
Alright.
That's half of 100 feet.
Yeah.
That's multiple meters.
Alright, let's draw a line in the sand and we'll say 10 meters.
Okay, Jesus Christ. I'm like, okay, me an American, okay, 10. 10 is good. 10 is good. I can do 10. Number. I'll do 10. You're like, all right, show me a 10 right outside.
Nah, but it was one of the craziest pre's of everything, just distance-wise.
It was massive.
Because, he had a crazy run up to it. Now, in fairness, wide angle lens, all that shit.
Sure.
It was probably goes to like 20 foot.
Yeah.
But it was just like, when you see it, like, holy shit. And it was the furthest one, it was first
anyone had
attempt
done.
At a pre. It was probably the only attempt at a pre in Art of Motion that I'd seen.
Yeah.
And it was also like, to me, it ended up being the most creative thing because everyone just got to the biggest open space and started doing corks.
That's a good point.
And it was like, okay, cork, flip, twist. Okay, some bar stuff. It's kind of cool. And it was like, he just went in and tried to like land pre's and do
the massive thing.
Kind of what parkour is.
Yeah.
kind of meant.
Yeah, totally. Well, I would. That's my for art of motion. That's why I was initially not going to watch it at all. I was very much no competition and like a vegan with regards to that. Like no, like it's to be trained with friends and it's a personal thing. It's an intimate thing you figure out with yourself. And not that I don't want it to be shared with others, but just that like when you compete with people, you bring out. That's where evil comes from. Sorry, but that's where evil comes from. Your comparison of yourself to others and your ability to defeat them. No, dude, do it for you first. I understand that our community currently, for the next hopefully 5-ish, 6-ish, 7-ish years, I hope will continue to be this like super open and cool community where you can compete just to kind of see. Like it currently, I still feel like it's sort of let's see if Pedro Salgado can do a cooler run than this one, which is unfortunately very subjective. But like. Because they're all doing it. They're doing their best all the time. Like, that's why they're doing it. But it's kind of cool, like, oh, can they do this? Or maybe in the case of, like, can Foskey or whatever, can that guy beat Pedro Salgado in a straight course over in this course, in this context? That's kind of cool to think about. And if you can go like, oh, cool, I finish it and high five your buddy and be like, cool, that's great.
That's why, like, I really like what Pedro does on his channel, where it's like he does the 1-for-1 challenge.
Yeah, that's great. See,
that's the spirit to me of parkour.
That's great.
Like,
so that's competition.
Like,
yeah, that's competition. Yeah. But it's like, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? It's cool to see
like
who will do
those
it.
Two guys, but I don't really care. There's no vested interest.
Exactly. The problem with this, when you get big with this, is going to be like it's going to bring out the evil in people. It's going to be I'm going to take your livelihood away. I'm going to take your livelihood away by defeating you as a human being. Mm-hmm. And I get that's a story you put in. I believe that we do have the choice to associate that story or not. But it gives you that table there, and it doesn't have to be there, other than for corporations, literally for the only purpose of making money for the corporation. Yeah, maybe like people are like, oh, but it's forwarding the sport. It's like, maybe. But the purpose of the corporation doing that is for the corporation. That's still number one.
But I mean, another thing at Art of Motion that I point out to people is like, all right, I think the most famous parkour team in the world, which arguably is Star.
Okay, I might argue it's Farang, but I don't know. That's actually a good argument to even have. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what that would be.
You could just take it on YouTube subscribers.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But anyhow, arguably up in the probably in Europe.
It's up there. It's Star.
It's probably going to be Star.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got like.
You could say Europe. Because Asia would be Farang would be Asia.
Yeah, Farang
so
would be
okay,
massive.
I'll buy that.
Storm and Tempest. You have a lot of
fuck yeah. All right, I'll buy that. Sure, whatever. Whatever.
Apex dudes over where you are too.
Yeah. Well, Apex dudes aren't whatever. Okay. No, they're good. They're just not like breaking ground like Store people like. But
the point I'm getting at is like you have AOM.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the Star crew?
No.
Compete? No, because like what they do is not conducive to flashy stuff.
Yeah, that's actually I really like them. They'll throw a flip in there here and there, but like it's really about that. I love
it. Like I kind of joked to you yesterday when you did that side break and run off. I was like, "Oh, start."
Yeah,
like,
actually,
you'll do it as part of a run and then run away.
I was thinking about them when I was doing it. I was like, got my shoes, my black shoes with my white bottoms. Like
if you watch their YouTube, like you'll see them do that shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I like their style a ton. I really dig it.
But that's it.
That's more of that.
But what you said, you like their style.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're touching on with competition, where it's like. It's such a subjective thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that Callum did a better jump than say Benji on the roof in Seoul.
Kalen can do crazy
screwdriver cork gainer
full pre.
Because you know what's going to happen. They're going to have to do it because the flips are going to get so ridiculous that like they're going to come to a point where and you know with the whole fig thing, which I don't know if you want to get into.
Yeah, that's a whole podcast.
That's a whole nother one. Yeah. But like they're going to get to a point where they're going to have to standardize the landing and be like, okay, it's a minus 0.5 deduction for the hand tap, which it's going to make logical and intuitive sense to gauge it as such. But like, I'm not, you know what would be really cool is if they actually filmed it and then in real time, we all went in and voted. That would be amazing. Talk about community engagement. Talk about using new technology and innovation in terms of like entertainment. That would satisfy all of those things, and it would still keep the community fairly together. I would hope. I don't know, but that's a thought. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing, which actually does relate to everything we've been saying right now, that I've been meaning to circle back to is. So the two things for parkour and freerunning was that what I said before with the packaging to the parents. The other one is to protect the history.
Yeah.
Because the kids, and I think you were hitting on this, and we danced around it, we never got to it, but protecting that, basically the art of displacement, the art of movement, the l'art du déplacement. Protecting that.
The fact that a lot of people don't even know that term anymore.
But that's why you have to keep the parkour over here. But on the other hand, I do understand how parkour is a 2-syllable word with hard consonants, which is, you see that word and something in your brain goes, oh, the park, because most people have park or some kind of level of phonetics in their language of that. So they go, oh, park, and then
Peter Parker.
Park
Peter
hour.
Parkour.
Can you say it for me again? Can you just say that, the P word, for me again?
Parkour.
See, that's another one too, is that foreigners, and this is why I feel like foreigners even just...
You're in our land now, damn it.
Well, no, but foreigners, I feel like, get it already more than Americans do. And I don't know why, maybe it's just a phonetic thing, but when I hear an American say parkour, something in me goes, I don't think you get it. And because it's a French origin.
Yeah.
Parkour isn't a French thing.
We touched on this the other day.
Did we talk about that?
No, on the language thing. Like, you guys don't really have necessity for any other language. Maybe,
so we just say how we want.
A little bit of Spanish.
Yeah.
Maybe even in the very north, a little bit of French.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
That's something my business partner does, which is funny because he's a level 3 coach. He's worked with the Yamakasi before. He's like Yamakasi or whatever. He's like in there, and it's just, and this might just be me being, what's it, anal retentive or whatever. But like he says, yeah, we're gonna do some parkour, and I'm like, one, we both train already. Why do we have to keep saying the name over and over again? It feels redundant to me. And it doesn't really matter if we do what we do, as long as we are training together. That literally is all that matters. And the other one is, why do you have to say parkour? Like, it just sounds weird, like a nerd. It sounds like an American saying it. But you sound like you have ties to the French. At least you're in Europe. So because you're in Europe, you have more ties to the French than we do in the US. And it sounds like whenever you do say it, and not just you, Australians, British people, like parkour, like they say parkour, like that, it's a homage to the French, and Americans go parkour. It's like, it's just a massive distancing from it. I'm sorry, that's a side point. But the big thing is just like, again, the branding for the freaking parents and stuff, for future generations, and government agencies, which we will have to work with as this stuff grows, because I'm very certain that it's going to grow. We will need to work with government agencies. We will have to be cognizant about how we go about it. I don't really have a choice about this, but I don't ever want to see a no parkour sign, which we already see in England. They already exist, I know.
I have one on my Instagram.
I'm talking about US. I'm talking about the US because that's all that matters to us. That's all that matters in the US is us. But I don't want to see that in the US, and I hope we never do. So I don't even tell them when they catch...
Like in that training spot we were at yesterday, it was like the Ministry for Sports, and outside it says no skateboarding.
Yeah, well, I get that though.
I know, but it's like the irony of it, where it's like you say...
But it's a sport now, technically.
Yeah, it's like you guys promote sports, but
you
can't do sports here.
But you can't do... And I get that it comes at the cost of whatever. Anyway, that's another topic. But that, and then protection of the history is the other one. That protection of the Yamakasi, the tradition, the art de déplacement, the overcoming of the mind... all those things, which I get you have to do anyway when you do any kind of a flip or any kind of a cork or whatever. But like, there's something about you in a gap. It is literally a metaphor for you in your life. In any decision, should I go to college or should I not go to college? Should I ask her out or should I not ask her out? Should I take the job or not take the job? Should I quit now? Like, these are all these decisions, and all these are gaps. And when you practice making concise, decisive decisions about your life, and you embody that in your thoughts, words, and actions, in your freaking soul when you're jumping. In the case of a rooftop, that's why I think they're kind of, these guys, the store guys anyway, are like basically addicted to it. I don't know if addicted, but like they're drawn to it. They're to face that. That's something you just don't get anymore. We're so good at, this is another topic, but we're so good at surviving in this world that there's no evolutionary pressures anymore. So there's this need to overcome the self.
We nerfed the world around us.
We've nerfed it so much, so we're literally searching for danger. There are guys, like you were mentioning with the stick fighting thing you do, literally going to parks, punching people in the beginning because it was like, oh, sick, they're willing to fight? Hell yeah, let's fight, because there's really no more need for that. But that's another topic. And then again, the other one is, we were talking about the history. But yeah, to protect that, because kids are forgetting, the internet is growing, people are using the word parkour as a
As a term for roof gaps.
As a term for roof gaps, as a term for just basically what people are calling reckless flips. And I'm sorry, it's not, and it shouldn't be, and it shouldn't be branded as such, but it is being that. And a lot of like Unilad, and like I've seen it on Unilad, they're like epic, dangerous, like death defying, like I mean, like it is, but like it's not. And I have another whole video blog and a topic I did about risk and how it's in your head and like whatever. That's a whole esoteric discussion. If you want to talk to me about that, feel free. But yeah, all these freaking things are branding parkour as just like, this makes money, this gets views, this is what it is. And they're putting and that's another one. I'm in the tricking community as well. In San Jose, like loop kicks is like one of the prominent starters of the tricking community. I know loop kicks, right? Yeah, like I know some of these founders, and I understand the frustration. People go up to them in the park when they're training outside and they're like, oh, is this parkour? And it's like, no. And I get that. I get what it's like to be misrepresented like that. I'm like, and I'm willing to say like, no, it's not. Came out of you hard there. Sorry? No. Is that really?
It's like Keanu Reeves, like,
no, man. No, dude. Avocados and toast, bro. Yeah, tricking, bro. Like, sorry. Shred the gnar. No, it's okay. I'm not offended. I know that's weird coming from California. I'm not really offended. But yeah, like, I get that. So, and then basically these big organizations are labeling parkour, and they're telling them, like, this is what it is, and people don't have a choice, and the young people that come in, they don't know, and there's no way for them to know, because the first time they see it is on Unilad, a viral video that they saw when they were 12, freaking in 2018. But then,
coming back to what you said, I mean, then that pushes the parents away, because I'm not going to put my kid in that thing where they're jumping off a roof.
Exactly, and it's like, dude, how do you get a handle on this? Like, I don't know. So even though I am sort of a separatist in the two things, like, it's like, the only way I can really be at peace is, one, to make the decision to be at peace, and that's my gap that I overcome whenever I hear someone say parkour and they don't care. Oh, do you do parkour? Like, I get a little angry. You can tell by the way I'm saying it. You can tell I get a little angry about it. But to choose to be at peace is the way to overcome this, right? And like to peacefully and not passively, but like peacefully state my opinion when I'm asked. And again, I thank you so much for allowing me to do that, because that's probably like maybe the third time I've ever actually articulated this, so I appreciate the opportunity to do that.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man.
I think that's a perfect spot to end on, actually.
Yeah, man. Sweet.
So yeah, where can people find you if they want to get in touch?
Where can people find me, man? My Instagram is Transcend Movement, TranscendMVMT. MVMT. That's my Instagram handle. I pause for the spelling because people are like, oh, how do you spell transcend? I'm like, I'm surprised that it's not like, we're all English speakers here pretty much, so I'm like really surprised. But yeah, man. So that's like my Instagram handle. There's some cool stuff on there, and I've got a tour of Europe. So by the end of that'll be very interesting to look at, I think. Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. And I'll put the links in the description of the video and everything else.
Yeah, man. My channel is also Transcend Movement and Transcend Movement Academy, all spelled out like words, like normal English words. But yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks again, buddy. Absolute pleasure.
Cool.